Are you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to the Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome back to the Songwriter Show right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your humble host, Sarantos. I'm a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words are so important to me, and that's why I love to host this show every single Tuesday evening for you. I believe that every song is a story. Tonight, I'm so excited to have Tim on the show from the Midnight Sky. Tim's been a practicing attorney in Dayton, Ohio for 45 years. In 2009, he decided to take his love of songwriting to the next level and began work on his first album, Dark Stretch of Road, which was released in 2014 under the band name Midnight Sky. They've released a few more albums since then, and Last Hope, which was a recent finalist for the ISA Best Band Album of the Year, and is a Josie Award nominee for Best Male Country Album of the Year.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Tim. How you guys doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Midnight Sky is your band name. That sounds like a cool name. I like that, man.
Thank you. It came from a song off the first album.
Okay, I was gonna say what inspired that. Yeah, it's got a great visual to it too.
Yeah, thanks. I think it went real well with the Last Hope for the Modern World theme for the latest album. You know, it kind of works together.
So tell me a little bit about you decide to push aside your love for law. There must have been something burning a fire in your belly. When and why did you start playing?
Well, I started as a teenager, which I think is probably the most common story for most of us. And I started out writing song parodies. I think that's fairly common too, because I was really comfortable with lyrics, but not so much with writing the music. So I took someone else's music and put lyrics to it. And then after a while, I thought, I think I should give a shot at doing my own music. And I put the music and the lyrics together, and I've been trying to write songs ever since.
Okay. And what is your main instrument?
Guitar.
Guitar. Okay. Tell us a little bit about your band. How many members are there? Where do they each play? How do you guys work together?
Well, my band is, at this point, it's very virtual. During COVID, it was, as you know, it was virtually impossible to get together and play and practice. And I came up with a protocol where I used musicians from not only Dayton, Ohio, where I'm based, but all over the country. And so I've got a core of people that I use on almost everything. But I like to call it the Midnight Sky family, sort of. We have people that come and people that go. And maybe I haven't used somebody for 3 or 4 years, and I've got a part that seems like the right thing for them. And, we cue them up and do it.
Tell us about your favorite musician. Who inspires you?
I think if I had to say my favorite musician, it would be Bob Dylan.
Why is that?
Well, I loved his lyrics. I loved his sort of eclectic approach to things. One minute he was a folk singer, and the next minute he was a rocker, and he's been a country guy. And, he's inspired a whole bunch of other acts that I really like the Byrds and Tom Petty. You could kind of look at that. And of course, before Bob, there was Woody Guthrie. There's just a long line of people who I think really, really knew how to make the most out of a song.
Do you have any advice for people that are just getting into this fascinating world of music?
Believe in yourself. Don't give up, because it's real easy. I think anybody that's been doing this for a short period of time or a long period of time reaches those points where you look at things and go, I don't know if this is worth it. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And I've been a lawyer for 45 years, so I'm no spring chicken. But yet this year I've got those 2 award nominations that you mentioned. I'm getting a lot of radio play. So I'm not sure too many people would want to wait this long. But on the other hand, I didn't really start getting serious about promoting this and doing this until 2009. So if you look at it that way, it's still a long time, but it's not a lifetime.
Yeah. Well, and I think age is relative and it almost doesn't matter, because when people hear your voice on a song, they don't know if you're 30, they don't know if you're 70. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If you touch them and it's relatable and it's memorable, it doesn't matter how old you are.
No, and I'm absolutely convinced that a lot of the songs that I've written in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I simply could not have written earlier. Because so many of them are based on life experiences that I've had.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right.
Yeah, during the last decade, and that's why I think I've gotten better as a songwriter. Which, if you practice something long enough, you should get better at it. But I've also had those life experiences that have inspired me to write certain things that, again, I just couldn't have written earlier in my life.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. And the other part to this, I think, which is important, is, what's old nowadays? I don't think you're old if you're 60 or 70. I think years ago, I love my dad. He was a huge inspiration for me. But when he was like 40 or 50, it's much different than 40 or 50-year-olds nowadays.
I agree. And of course, I hope that's true.
No, it definitely is. What's your fondest musical memory?
Well, one memory I have is that when I was 16, my dad bought me a Martin D18 guitar. And I still have that guitar. And almost every song I've ever written, I wrote on that guitar. So that's certainly a very, very fond memory.
Okay. Tell us about this song. What inspired it? How did you write it?
I came up with Last Hope for the Modern World as the title for the last album out of nowhere. To me, it just sounded cool. And there was sort of an ambiguity to it, but I hadn't written the song. And we'd gotten most of the work done for the album. And I thought, well, I don't necessarily have to have a song that has the same title as the album, but I kind of wanted to. And I thought Last Hope for the Modern World, it sounds like it could be sort of grim. And then when I finally wrote the lyric, it's love's the last hope for the modern world. So I decided to go in a more positive, optimistic direction. That's where that came from.
Tell us a little bit about what you have that you're working on right now that might be exciting to the fans and listeners.
I've got a big band sort of song that I wrote back in the 90s. And a buddy of mine and I recorded it in his basement studio, using a synthesizer and an old recording program called Cadenza. And it wasn't bad, but I always wanted to redo it with real horns, and I'm working on that right now. It's something that's a complete departure from the other stuff that I've done, but that's what I like doing.
Awesome. Okay, I'll tell you what, let's take a listen to this song and then we'll come back and talk a little more, okay?
Great, thank you.
All right, everybody, check this out. Here we go.
Kiss in the shadows, lips touch in the night, holding each other, 'cause it seems so right. Come feel the music, get up and dance. If you've got a better idea, now's your chance. I ain't knocking science or a college degree. I ain't knocking faith or diplomacy. But when the world's on fire and the clock is up, grab you can't fix. It's another guy's turn to hold the bag of tricks. Find someone special, hold them tight, show them that you love them if it takes some night. I ain't knocking science or a college degree, I ain't knocking faith or diplomacy, but when the world's on fire and the goblin's hurt, grab your guy, grab your girl, thread your hearts on a string of pearls, 'cause love's the last hope for the modern world. No, I ain't knocking science or a college degree, I ain't knocking faith or diplomacy, but when the world's on fire and the goblin's hurt, grab your guy, grab your girl, thread your hearts on a string of pearls, 'cause love's the last hope for the modern world. Yeah, love's the last hope for the modern
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Tim. Very inspirational, and it was great to listen to that.
Thank you. I'm pretty proud of that one.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest thing in this business to deal with?
Well, it's hard to know whether the people you're dealing with are real or not. And I think I'm pretty good at doing that because I've been a lawyer for 45 years, but there's so many people out there that will promise you that, they can do things to promote your career and promote your music. And a lot of times you just don't know for sure. I've been lucky. I haven't had any serious set of circumstances where I got taken advantage of. But I think it's real easy because, if you're an artist of any kind, you want so much for other people to appreciate what you've done. And I think that need to be appreciated can get in the way of your judgment. And so that's something that you always have to be on the lookout for when you're trying to do something artistic.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have like a favorite song from the last year that you want to share with us?
That someone else did, or
Sure.
honestly, I really don't. I don't listen to a whole lot of radio right now, and so I just don't know how to answer that question.
Okay. When you look at your particular area, what could inject that music scene and take it to the next level? What do you think is missing in that area?
You mean in sort of alt country, or
Yeah,
you mean for me in particular, or just for the genre?
whatever you want. It could be for you, it could be for the genre, whichever you want to talk about.
I mean, for me, when I first started doing this, the very first thing I recorded, I thought was going to be just a really well-produced song demo, because my thought was I'd really like to sell my songs. And that's still a dream of mine, is that somebody famous, maybe not so famous, would decide to record one of my songs. One, it would be validation that the song was probably pretty good. And two, I would love to hear somebody else's approach to production.
Sure. Is there a role model that you have that you want to share with us on the show tonight?
My mother was an attorney, and she and I practiced together for 22 years. And well, both of my parents loved me unconditionally. I had a very positive childhood in that way. And, she backed me 100% on whatever I wanted to do, even if it seemed kind of crazy. And I think she was probably the single most influential person in my life. And that would be my role model.
What's the coolest road trip you've ever been on?
I'm not sure I want to say.
All right, enough said. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite person to follow on social media of any kind?
Again, do you remember a drummer named Hal Blaine with the Wrecking Crew?
I remember that band. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the drummer.
The Wrecking Crew were the studio musicians
Yeah.
that backed everybody in the 70s. And Hal Blaine, drummer, and he played on Phil Spector stuff. He played on Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
He played on Beach Boys stuff, because so many of these bands, they were okay to play live, but they weren't good enough to play in a studio. And there's a group on Facebook that's just devoted to Hal Blaine. And because he was so influential and he was connected to so many people, I love reading that, because there's always a story about, some interesting thing that happened in the studio, some just sort of lucky accident where somebody, they knocked over a drum and they recorded it, and it turned out to be, the best thing about the record. So, yeah, Hal Blaine Group, very, very interesting.
Awesome. I watched the documentary on Netflix about the Wrecking Crew, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. So last question for you. What is your website? Where can people buy and stream your stuff, Tim? Where can they find out about you guys?
The website is midnightskymusic.com. We're on all streaming services. Big ones, Spotify, Apple, right down to ones that I think maybe only 10 people listen to. So we're pretty much everywhere.
Awesome, Tim. I want to thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Hey, thank you. It was an honor to be here, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
You're welcome, man. To all the fans out there, thank you for listening to the two of us. We both hope your unique story gets heard around the world. My name is Sarantos. Please join me every single Tuesday evening to hear other amazing artists share their fascinating behind-the-scenes stories right here at the Songwriter Show on Reality Radio 101. I love you all. Have a great night.
I tried to be normal, but I was too difficult to ignore. Everybody's got dirty hands from what I learned. There's only one season to live for. Now it's June, I'm no longer a work in progress. Like a thief in the night who hasn't stolen enough. Working the day so at night I can rock this. Work part-time to say life's rough. The perfect lips wait for me out there, but till I find them, my body is your body, and nobody can touch my body like you. Your body is my body, and nobody can touch your body like me. So let's summer the night away. Let's summer. Let's sweat till dawn. Little pain tonight, but tomorrow it'll be gone. The perfect lips wait for me somewhere out there, but till I find them, my body is your body, and nobody can touch my body like you. Touch your body like me. So let's summer the night away. Let's summer. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim. feeling. The way my body fits on your body, and nobody can touch my body like you. Oh, your body, it needs my body, and nobody can touch your body like me. So let's summer the night away. Yeah, let's summer.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.